thank you for inviting me back again. It's quite an honor. And so I want to start out by giving myself some encouragement. Don't want to get too close to the mics. I want everybody to give me 2 thumbs up. All right. Now I want everybody to give me 2 peace signs. Now I want everybody to just hold your hands out like this. Now I want you to look at your hands. Look at the tips of your fingers and your thumb. And you'll see on there, you have fingerprints. Those fingerprints identify you. You're the only one that has these fingerprints. In fact, it is used in forensics and criminal investigations. If they find a fingerprint, they can identify who the person is. So what does that mean? It means you're unique. There's only one of you. Your unique personality too, just not fingertips. And so each of us is the only person of your type on this planet. The only person like you that has all the attributes. You may think you see a doppelganger somewhere, but you're different. You're both different. And so we come into this world as unique individuals, and yet we crave relationship. We want to be with other people. We want to share interests with other people. So this is not a new thing. And you know, when we were evolving into where we are today, people had groups that they would hunt together because it was more efficient, and then they would stay together to protect themselves against wild beasts. And then ultimately, as we moved on, they became communities and tribes. And then those tribes ultimately morphed into city-states and countries. And so even today, we need relationship with people to get things that we need in our lives. Love of each other, service to each other, that sort of thing. And these communities that we have developed, you know, I do eulogies from time to time, and I look out into the audience. We have the deceased here who I know generally, and I can see in the audience all of these different tribes that they belong to. So they have this group that they grew up with, all their friends when they were young. And then we have this group of where they worked. All their workers are there. And then we have their family, their friends. We might have their football team, okay? So, you know, when you're, and every one of these groups are there, and they're part of all of them. They were when they were alive, and so all of these people are here to honor their lives. And at the end of all my eulogies, I ask the congregation to stand and give a standing ovation for life well lived. And that's a good way to end a eulogy, I can tell you, and then I walk off the stage. But one of the issues that comes up is that we all look for meaning in life. So we're all interested in what is important, what is valuable to us. And so we have these groups that we're a part of. And I'm going to use football for an example. We have people that are supporters of the Seminoles. And they buy t-shirts. They do the war chant. They wear the hats. They're all partying with their Seminole friends, and they're all rooting against Florida, that sort of thing. We have Gators who do the same thing. I went to Auburn, so we have the Auburn Tigers, the War Eagles, but we hate Alabama, and Alabama hates us. You know. But it's all in good fun, generally. But there are certain people who go to extremes. So in my case, you know, in Auburn, when we win, we generally have this tradition where we go to Toomer's Corner, we throw toilet paper over the trees, and we all celebrate. Okay. I don't know how that ultimately started, but it's been a tradition for many, many years. And that's all fine and good, except that then an Alabama fan who didn't like Auburn took it to the extreme and decided he was going to poison the trees, which he did. A guy named Harvey Updike. He went and poisoned those beautiful oak trees that were sitting at Toomer's Corner. They all died. So this is a demonstration of how communities and people can isolate themselves, and then it does the opposite of what's designed to do, which is to bring forth value in your life. It can create anger, it can create hatred, and so now it's become counterproductive. And this is something that people have a tendency to do. It can be done in political parties. It can be done in any manner of things. And so we look at religion. In religion, it's recognized that everyone is different, right? I've got a couple quotes. I'm not a huge Bible person, but there are some quotes in the Bible that talk about this. And if you think about the Trinity, the concept of the Trinity in Christian theology is that there's three beings. All of them are divine. They work together, but each has different roles. And so we start out with that, but we look at, let me put on some shades here so I can see. In well, first of all, think about Paul. Paul was a guy who, he went out of his way to persecute Christians. This was his thing. He loved it. He would ride around and, throw them in jail, kill them, whatever. And then on the road to Damascus, he was struck down. He was blinded, and he got this vision of Christ saying, hey, why are you messing around with my people here, You should join them. You should do what's right. And so ultimately, he became a big supporter of the Christian religion. It wasn't really a religion at the time, of the theology. And he began to try and plant little churches all around. So these churches were like people's houses. People would gather, 10 or 15 people, and they would talk about Christ's redemption and how he came back from the dead, all this kind of stuff. And Paul was writing them. So you look at the Bible today and you'll see Paul, 1 Corinthians, for instance. The Corinthian church is having problems. And they're asking Paul, what are we going to do? And so all of these people are individuals, but they're trying to gather into a community, and he's giving them advice on how to find unity within the uniqueness of each person. But in Romans 12, 4 through 8, for just as each of us has one body with many members, and those members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all others. So there's a recognition of the uniqueness of individuals, and then the need to find unity without losing your identity. So, and the problem happens when, theology is one of those things where everybody recognizes, we have a short time on this planet, and then we're going to do something. We don't know yet what, and so everybody has these theologies about what happens after we die, what we need to do to get salvation, to go to the next level. And they become very rigid sometimes in their belief systems. So you might have seen the Pew surveys. It's a group who goes out and asks questions to people. And you'll notice that the people who identify themselves as spiritual but not religious has been climbing. And those who have identified themselves as religious has been dropping. Now, why is that? Something that the churches are providing is not satisfying the need for community. Now, I'll take the position that a lot of that has to do with dogma, which is not necessarily logical. And we've seen it throughout history. The Catholic Church, when it started out, was claiming that the earth was the center of the universe. The sun went around the earth, all the planets went around the earth, but we were the main thing, right? And when Galileo said, I've been looking at this sky, and it seems to me that we're going around the sun. Well, this didn't sit well with the church, so they couldn't excommunicate him and kill him or anything, so they just put him in house arrest and made him do a mea culpas and all that. But it was a demonstration of how when religion gets into areas that they don't have any business in, or if they get into politics, or if they get into anything like this, they're going to turn people off because it no longer meets the needs of the community that these people are interested in. So we also have the problem of when you're in one of these groups and you don't accept some of their premises, they can shun you. They'll quit talking to you. I've heard stories of people whose parents would not speak to their children because they didn't agree with whatever the theology was that they agreed to. So this is one facet of theology that is really turning people off, and rightfully so. But you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So there's unity that we're looking for, but there's not uniformity that we need, because the uniformity will crush the individual, will require them to walk this path that they may not think is right, but they want to stick with it because they got their friends there, their family there, they don't want to be shunned, they don't want to become a pariah within their community. Because community is so strong, sometimes they'll just stick with it. There are churches that where people, they have this theology written down, but they don't really address that. Mostly they're there because they love their neighbors, they want to be with them, they want to serve them. So then the question is, what happens when somebody comes and wants to really become hardcore, stick to the theology or you're out type deal? And that's when the problems occur. Now, there was I like to read parables to you guys, which kind of talk about this kind of stuff. So there was a man, this has to do with how you look at other people who are not in your communities, and how it may create cognitive dissonance with the truth, and you may become angry at them, or you may not like them because they're Alabama fans or because they're Gators, or whatever. And this is just a quick little parable that talks about that. So it's a guy who, he had an axe, and it went missing. Couldn't find it, looked everywhere. But he saw his neighbor's son, who was about 15. He's thinking, you know what? That guy looks like he took it. It looks like he's a thief. Everything he says makes me think, it confirms my prejudgment, this guy's a thief. I'll bet he has it somewhere. And he carried this perception of his neighbor's son for months, where he didn't like the guy, didn't want to be around him, felt like he was evil. Till one day he was cleaning his garage out and he found his axe. Then when he saw the boy, he looked normal. He spoke normally. He was just like any other boy. So the perception that you place on people, the first judgment that you do to people because they might not be part of your community, they might be a Gator, they might be a Roll Tide guy. They still might be decent people. The other thing, I was reminded of this one when I saw your choir. So your choir is made up of a lot of different people with a lot of different voices, and Catherine leads them into providing a beautiful song. Now, there was a time when a person came in to a choir, they knew that they had a great voice, and it was a soprano voice, and she was like, had been in she had been employed as a singer on Broadway, and so she thought, okay, we don't really need these other people. I can do it all myself, all right? And then another person came in who was an alto, and they thought, I don't need all these other people. I can sing this song myself. And they complained when all these other people came up on the stage. They're like, this is just gonna be cacophony. It's not gonna really provide the kind of music that we want. But Catherine gave them each a role to play, a time to sing, and a voice which was going to complement the other voices. And the result was a beautiful song. And the soprano afterwards said, I could have sung it all myself, but I think it was improved by the fact that we had other people singing with us. And so with a conductor who can actually arrange everything so that it will sound well, it became a beautiful symphony, or beautiful song. So this is part and parcel of what everybody's looking for. You're unique, but with each other, you can have more. But you have to be careful not to go over the edge and poison the trees at Toomer's Corner, or shun somebody because they think the sun does not go around the earth. When religion gets involved in things that doesn't have anything to do with science, politics, money, industry, when it gets into that, it's losing its value. It's becoming something it really never was intended to be. We're not here to say, hey, you've all got to be voting independents to be in our church. And one of the things that was a problem in the just not long ago was that certain churches they adopted a political position, whether it was right wing, left wing, whatever, doesn't matter. When they started doing that, what that does is divide people. So in other words, oh, you're a Republican? Well, we don't want to talk to you anymore. Oh, you're a Democrat? Oh, we don't want to talk to you anymore. And so when I tell people that they need to pay attention to what divides people when they make suggestions, I think it rings true that, Jesus never said that. He never said, I want to divide people. He said, there's two rules. Love is in both of them. Love God and love each other. So we look at religion today, and we see that there are certain religions that feel like it's my way or the highway. You either believe this, or you're going to hell, and you will burn for eternity. Well, that's an interesting thought. And the two that are very much that way are Christianity and Islam. Both of them think that. And it has, you can imagine the animosity that is bred by this type of position. They think that they know everything, and that they can exclude, that God would exclude everybody that isn't like them. This is what they're telling people. God is not going to do it. And they say, well, Jesus said, you're only going to get to the Father through me. Well, let's say he did say that. He didn't say on this planet. Maybe you're going to have to pass him by, get a high five on the way out. But to say that that means that 2/3 of the planet are going to be destined to hell is certainly not the kind of unity that I think God's looking for. So what we're trying to do is to take some of the theology out of the religions of the world and turn them into service organizations, loving organizations. They can be unified. They're going to be individuals, but they're all going to have a common purpose. And that common purpose is love and service. Very simple. And it can be done by anybody. They don't have to be a member of a congregation. The membership in a congregation is important for this reason. We're together. We know each other. We love each other, and we want to help people when they need it. Having that in a congregation is critical, and that's what makes churches important to me. You can do all this without a church. I just think that it's good to have support when you're actually involved in working towards a positive life plan. And we each have life plans. We each are born individually to have a life plan, and we make choices along the way, which could influence where we end up, how we end up. We're going to make bad choices, by the way, and if we have the consequences of those, we won't make them again. We'll go to another test, and we'll work on that. But the people who do bad things and then are shielded from the consequences never learn. Usually the universe will bring that back to them and have that same decision to be made again. And when that happens, they'll have to make another choice. So all of our paths are trying to improve our position as far as, are we more loving? Are we more service-oriented? And that's why a lot of people say there are as many paths to God as there are people to walk them. Because everybody's an individual. And the universe is providing every one of you with decision-make points where you're going to be called to make excruciating moral decisions where it's hard. There's no great answer. It could be this, it could be that. You're going to have to make a choice. So what I try and encourage people to do is appreciate you're making choices. Appreciate that this life is short. Appreciate that you are growing in spirit. You're growing in your ability to help other people and to love other people. So that on your deathbed, in your eulogy, we will have a lot of different groups out there who want to come and say, I knew them, they were good people, and I'm here to honor the life that they lived, and I'm ready to stand up and give my applause to it. The part of this is that I can stand up here and I'm going to sing a few songs which are kind of going to try and highlight what I'm talking about. I could do it myself, sure, but I think it'd be better if I had somebody join me. It's going to be better for you, for sure. So your very own Catherine Hathaway has agreed to join me to sing a couple songs. I didn't have them put it in the bulletin, but there's so many old hippies in here. I'm sure that you are going to recognize these songs. So Catherine.
You're supposed to.
No, it's not okay. It's required. It's required. The first one is it's a song which is from the Youngbloods in 1967. When this song was released, it was declared the Song of the Year by, I think, the Baptist Church or somebody, because it so perfectly described what they really thought would be the best thing, which what they're preaching. And it's just continued over the years. It's always on the radio, but Catherine agreed to sing it with me. And you'll notice in here that it talks about the shortness of our lives. And there's actually a piece of art in the Louvre by Rembrandt, which is called The Slaughtered Ox, and it is really describing what they are characterizing this statement. Remember, you're going to die. And even though this song is a happy one, it does kind of mirror that. So, all right.
Love is but the song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring, or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, follow each other, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Come on,
People now, follow each other, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go, he will surely pass. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunshine fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
come
Come
on.
on, people now, smile on each other, everybody get together, and love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand.
Listen.
You hold the key to love and peace, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks the door, it's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now, right now, right now. Yeehaw! Thank you, Fred.
And now we're going to end this with another song that I think you've heard. This one basically talks about what I've been saying is, where's the unity? Where is unity amongst unique individuals? And how do we demonstrate that to people who we want to influence? You know, St. Augustine said, preach constantly. Use words only if necessary. So, you know, this song is, you've probably heard this. Ready?
We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. And we pray that all unity will one day be restored, and we'll know we are Christians by our